Welcome to this episode of Culinary Curiosity with Chef Duane. Today I wanted us to delve into hummus. Hummus is a puree of chickpeas and other ingredients, as in lemon and salt and tahini, which is ground sesame seeds. So it's the peanut butter of sesame, if you want to think of it that way. So it's not necessarily daunting, but it's called tahini. We also add some olive oil, we add lemon juice, garlic, and then there's the liquid part of it. It could be water if that's what you wanted, but what I often use is the juice that is in the garbanzo bean cans. And yes, I do use canned garbanzo beans. I've done it before with cooking the garbanzo beans myself, and literally I found that was a lot of work for no return. So I think that the cans are great. I've used small cans before, like this one, and it is, let me see here, it's 16 ounces, and you would probably want to use 4 of them. Or what I'm using today is a 30 ounce, and I'm using 2 of these. Literally though, I've done a number 10 can, which are really large cans that you see sometimes at the stores. I use that for garbanzo beans and making hummus. I make large quantities of it. I do it for catering, I do it for parties, I do it for us at the house. We eat it a lot, really enjoy it. It's very healthful for you. A good amount of protein and fiber, and it just tastes great. Now, I know most of you, whenever you think of hummus, you go to the grocery store and buy some. And I would say that those at the grocery store are of good quality. I'm not knocking them in the least, but I know that whenever we have tasted the grocery store varieties before, they just don't come up to the flavor level that my family enjoys. We do like it much more lemony and much more garlicky, and potentially a little bit more salty. Not too terribly much, but I just find that those at the grocery store are a little on the bland side. And if I was to get them, I would doctor them up. So if I'm going to go to that trouble, I might as well do it from scratch. Now, I never made hummus before. I met my wife's best friend's family. They are Lebanese Americans. And we were going over to their house to do a little bit of a catering for a family get-together. And Mrs. Malik wanted to teach me how to make hummus the way her family likes it, and some other dishes, rolled grape leaves and the like. And whenever I started making it, she told me, exactly how they like it, went ahead and made it that way. And I would say that the only thing from her version to my version, or my family's version, is that we do probably add a little bit more lemon juice to it. We tend to like things very sour. This isn't very sour, but it has a nice bite because the garbanzo beans, it brings a lot of flavors down. It's so earthy, and puree of it, it just takes a lot of those carbohydrates and just levels everything out. We like it to peak a little bit with some of these flavors. So I always appreciated in my heart Mrs. Malik for teaching me how to do this, and then how it's just been a part of our family for, oh heavens, a good 20 years, I would say. And it's something my daughters love. Whenever we cater for my oldest daughter's band, whenever they're out on competitions, I've made a whole bunch of this, definitely a number 10 cans worth, put it out there for the kids to have snacks with veggies and pitas, and they eat it up. And feel really good about that because it is helpful for them. It's a nice snack that they enjoy and that they're really used to. So depending upon your age, you may be very familiar with hummus, and maybe it's not something you've ever done before. So let's today go through how I make this for my family. I will do my best to capture the amounts, and I'll put that in the comments. But one thing that I do want you to take away is that this recipe is very much to taste. So yes, when you're starting something new, you follow the recipe perfectly, and then afterwards you start adjusting it. So the things that you would be looking for is how much garlic, if any, you want in your hummus, how much lemon juice you want in it. Do you want as much as I'm making? You can take that down. Honestly, you could do 2 cans of this size and make a small batch. But let me tell you, it does stay in the refrigerator for a good long time. and it even freezes. We have made large batches before and had extra, put it in a suck and seal bag and put it in the freezer, and it was really good. And so the only thing is that we rarely have leftovers, but you can make as much or as little as you want. So it's to your taste, and it is to a texture. You don't want it too dry at all, and that's where the garbanzo bean juice or water can come into the picture. And why I add the juice to it is because it's just adding more of the flavor. Water would be fine, but it's going to dilute it. The juice that comes in the can doesn't dilute it. It actually adds more garbanzo flavor to it. So as you watch me do it and you look at the consistency of what we're putting in here, I want you to just really do that as your takeaway. So when you do it at home, you do it to your liking. So the order that I'm putting this into the blender or the food processor isn't that big of a deal, except for maybe this part of it. I'm using whole garlic cloves, and in this case, I'm using 4 of them, and they're of various sizes because that's just how nature produces them. But pretty much that's what I like. I know our family would like that. And I put that in the food processor first. Now you can chop it up yourself and put it in here, but my thought would be, that's why I have this machine. If you put it in at any other time, there's a really good chance that you're gonna have large chunks of garlic, which in this case is not really something I'm wanting. So I put it in early, very first, and pulse it up. Then at that point, I'm able to go to the next step. So the next thing I want to do is add some lemon juice. I know that my family likes to have the juice of 2 lemons put in this batch. So I'm just gonna come in here with the lemon juicer, the reamer, and I have a strainer over here that is catching the seeds. And if you don't like that much lemon juice, then please start with the juice of half a lemon, or potentially if you're not going to use fresh juice, which in this case I really love to because it just tastes so good. But maybe you want to start putting in, minimal of maybe 3 tablespoons of it for a batch this size of bottled lemon juice. That would be fine. And one thing about this is that you can add the lemon juice at any time, at any stage. And that is not something that it matters right now if it's done in the beginning or in the end, but I just wanted to go ahead and get this out of the way. And I was able to catch 2 seeds in there. So now I've just moved that out of the way. I'm going to bring the food processor a bit closer. And so what I'm doing is on one of these cans, I've completely drained the liquid and it's down the drain. So I want 1 can's worth of these garbanzo beans in here. And then I want the second can, its juice. So I went ahead and just drained this into this container. So this is 350 milliliters, which equates to about 1.5 cups. So if you were to be using water and you didn't want to use the juice in the can, then I would suggest you using 1 to 1.5 cups of water to add to this recipe, which I'm just going to go ahead and put it in. Now, when you're doing it, you don't have to measure it out. You can just take half of the cans that you're using, 1 can that's been drained, 1 can that hasn't. So now I'm just going to take this lid, put it back on, and start blending this up. That looks really good. And what I want to do now is add in tahini. So this is the brand I usually use, and whenever you see recipes on TV, they often just show you that, oh look, this is the tahini. And I want you to know that whenever you buy this at the store, it's not going to look mixed up like this. It's going to have a nice thick layer of very hard paste and a layer of oil on the top of that. It's been sitting in distribution and in the grocery store for some time. And it is going to be a little difficult if you open it up and go, hey, this doesn't look anything like what I saw. Well, what I do as a bit of a trick is before I open the can, because there's a metal lid on top, is I turn it upside down for a period of time. I bang it upside down, so I try my best to get that very hard paste mixed in the bottom by shaking it up for a period of time. If you don't do that, you're gonna have to get a fork and start mixing it up, because you want this entire can to be homogeneous like this, not that separated. So what I'm trying to do here is also help you understand how much I'm using. So right now I'm just gonna do a little math. With the can, that's 280 grams, and I'm gonna add in what I believe is our normal amount that we enjoy. And that takes it down to 180, so that's pretty good. I used 100 grams, and I can try to figure out at a later time how much that's going to be. And then for this, again, I usually just pinch my fingers into this salt container, but for this benefit, I'm gonna definitely say that that is that is a half a tablespoon. That is 1 tablespoon, and I think we're gonna go 1.5 tablespoons of salt in there. And if you don't want to use that much, perfectly fine. Start by putting however much you want, taste it, and then you can always add more, not a problem. Now at this stage, I'm taking extra virgin olive oil. You could use any oil that you're happy with, but I really think that since we're eating this like this, it's not hurting the flavor of the olive oil, and it's actually adding to the flavor as we eat it. So I'm adding somewhere around 1/2 cup of olive oil to this. And if you wanted to just not use it, that would be perfectly fine. I think that it really adds a great flavor, and it's something that I think you should consider. Now for tasting. I blended it up. And you know, to be honest with you, this is a little bit looser than we normally like it. So maybe I shouldn't have added as much of that juice in that can, but it's not really a problem. This is not something that is gonna hinder us in the least. And I would say really for my family, that's a very nice amount. We might add the juice of another lemon, but I think that that's excellent. It really is delicious. That you'll give this a try. It's really simple. It took us just so few minutes. Just have the ingredients at your house. And this is a large volume. You may say, oh, I'll never use that amount. Please consider just keeping it in the back of the fridge or even freezing it, because the quality of this is so much better than what you would get at the grocery store. And they have different flavors which you could add here too. You could add some pesto to make that delicious. You could add red bell peppers that have been roasted. You can get jars of that. So you can add whatever else you would want to this recipe with the exact same ingredients that we talked about. It's just an addition. I think that's something you would enjoy, and I hope that this has been a new endeavor for you. And if not a new endeavor into hummus, but maybe the version of doing it at your home instead of buying it would be something that's appealing. Thank you.